Alrighty, good morning, guys. What's going on? Welcome back. Yesterday, pretty good day. A pretty good day. Pullback from last week's rotation into growth. Ended up being buy everything sort of Monday. Growth, a little bit slower. Again, having a nice week last week. Mostly a value catch up. Whether or not this is the same traders that sold value to buy growth, that then rebought value after a little dip, you could look at it many ways. Either way, everything was bought, about 1.5% across the board. S&P climbed back into the trend. We watched for the converging levels of supply here. We had an expectation that it was going to pass through, at least gravitate to that point. It did that. This morning, futures completely break even. We have Powell testifying today to Congress. I don't think anyone is waiting to hear what Powell has to say. For instance, pretty sure orders will be normal. We'll see what he has to say. Again, I talked about a little bit yesterday that I do have a little bit of an expectation we're going to get some boomer questions from Congress and maybe some inflation kind of trap questions from Republicans to, I don't know, get us into that whole discussion, which, again, pretty sure the market has a pretty, at least midpoint average sort of view on the inflation debate. Obviously, last week's growth rotation sort of points to this change our mind every time somebody says something and go with the flow until somebody does. And so we just continue to trend until somebody says something different. And that is a good way to approach the market right now, is we continue to do what's working. And the big thing that's working is just buying pullbacks. So again, on Friday, taking really big bets going into Monday, and it paid off, right? We take a look at things like energy and banks that we put positions on Friday. We made about 3.5%, right? Pretty straightforward kind of stuff. 2% on banks. Whether or not we're gonna come back to the high here is a big question. So we're looking for direction here through this week. Value is definitely continuing here. It looks decent enough. So it does, again, there's a question about why do we sell so much for a growth transition, and are we going to really see that, right? When we look at the NASDAQ, are we going to see this all-time high sort of continued push? And is this really the side of the market that's going to put the most points on? Definitely can. And tech usually does. Yesterday was sort of a mixed bag in terms of what did well, but it really was oriented to the value side. And still, when we look at numbers, of course, that side of things is still putting the most points on. Again, via energy, up almost 55. Well, it's up over 55% on the year, and then banks coming in around that 20.5 area. Right. In terms of what's going on in the crypto market, we've got Bitcoin selling more. Oops, wrong. Bitcoin selling more, hit under 30,000. I thought that was an interesting number to see it under 30,000. We've talked about this just sort of area that there's nothing going on, consolidating, doesn't look good for upside. It's now, this downtrend's been a little bit more. It's been a little bit more than what we saw before in terms of swings, and so not the best candle for any crypto lovers out there. It's hard to, it's hard to find any good reasons to go buy right now. And if you use some sort of opportunity cost sort of look, it doesn't really make sense to go buy Bitcoin over equities right now. It's just such an easy decision, and pretty sure you're getting that from the institution side. We'll have to see what this turns into. Again, doesn't look tradable, and it hasn't been being traded, which is a big thing. We talked about how this area does not look like there's any trading going on. It's just not being traded. And so whoever's holding long needs to make a decision, and then whoever was long before would be the primary sort of buyer. Are they just completely in equities right now? It's really hard not to paint them in here. When we look at what's been going on retail stocks and meme stocks, they've been holding so much value and doing so well and being traded in a sort of demand heavy way all the time. And so there's some short term trading, there's holds happening, there's some just, not as bombastic January that we had when meme stocks started. So, I would say the controlled environment there is just so much easier than looking at Bitcoin going under 30. So good luck to anybody in Bitcoin. I'm happy that I got out. So good job. In terms of the other sides of crypto, Ethereum might do a lot better. So we'll see if those two diverge. Could be possibly there. And then again, the other side of this is whether or not there's some sort of gold Bitcoin correlation. I think correlation's too far, but in terms of the flows, is there any flow here? I mean, it's you make your mind up, but they both came down here, so not very helpful, is it? So again, this is a story of let's go buy equities. Why are we sitting in here? We made some points. Let's get out, put it in equities. It's the same story everywhere. When we take a look at the dollar had this rise again, sort of leading with the growth rotation that we saw last week. Not, of course, a risk off situation with the dollar rising. This is more a reaction to what the Fed told us with the idea of interest rates coming back sooner than later and also asset buying possibly being tapered. We're talking quite a long time from now. So we didn't have that big of a move, but it's still notable. And we're sort of consolidating now at the top here. This is sort of, again, in a spot where we can't really use this information. And it's just sort of hard to tell how much of the dollar movement matters. How much is it impacting, let's say, commodity prices? I would say it does, but again, it's the same thing where the dollar being towards the upside should affect equities in the similar way, but this upside action actually means bullishness and risk on in the equity market. Maybe it's just we have to throw out the equity market side, but we look at commodities. Every time the dollar rises, commodities are down. It's just, again, hard to tell, and so it's this sort of black hole, which is the equity market, which you try to look at the numbers, and we're talking about a market that's over 30, or the US equity market's capitalization's over 30 trillion. And the more I think about that number and you look at some other things, I saw the quarter one data from Goldman that's based off of the Fed, and they have a $70 trillion US equity market based on the way that the ETFs, in the way that US home buyers hold stocks, and they sort of, again, overlap each other. And so instead of just, let's say Apple's over $2 trillion valuation, that cap is then within ETFs, and then in other funds, then those funds have caps, and so you have to add those up. And then when you start to look at these, you start to get percentages that add up over 100% in terms of holdings, because then the same thing is happening again, where mutual funds have homeowners, retail traders within them, but then those also are within some other sort of fund. Hedge funds maybe then are being active and buying into those, other active mutual funds maybe buying them. And so we have this cap that is seemingly endless, apparently an endless amount of buyers. And as I've said from, I think it was last week I posted it, the last 5 quarters have had $1 trillion worth of inflows, which is more than the last 10 years. It's the black hole of just fucking buy equities in the U.S. market. That's what we have. And when we take a look at other markets, right, it's just no one wants to do anything. The Hang Seng, we talked about this sort of candle from again, this growth rotation where you would have an expectation that China would be up, being the tech heavy side. No, I mean, no one cared this week. They're just buying U.S. equities. The same thing we talked about. This chart over here, Europe had just been trending up forever. It just is a value-oriented market and had been just tracking the U.S. value market. This looks just like any sort of value-specific chart that you look at from the U.S. side. This is the FOMC day, and it's just erasing it and just going back to what we've been doing. And so again, everything is just completely tied to our market, completely tied to what the Fed does, and it's again, you can't. There's not many surprises. There's not really many surprises, and that's kind of what made last week so interesting. Is that we had moves that again seem very overreactionary, and what exactly are we doing? Are we just pricing things very quickly still, which is really not needed, but maybe it's defensive to price quickly? Or is it just because that everyone else in the world is actually all trading the same market, and so we have this sort of again influx of really supply and demand that adds volatility and splits or causes spreads to be a little bit wider, right? It could be a lot of things, and so I think when you look at it, it's still just an inflow game. If there's an expectations of continued inflows, the market continues to trend up, which we clearly have, and so we continue to trend, we continue to go. The game is really about where are we placing money, not should we put money in the market. And we've done a very good job of buying pullbacks every time, because that's again the only place that you can make alpha in this market is to you should be capturing the trend, right? You should be capturing this trend. Everyone should be capturing the trend. Right now, again, we're on pace for when you start to think about the numbers again, it's a lot of points, right? We're talking about big percents, so we're probably going to reach that 100% mark on the S&P sometime this year in terms of the COVID bottom. And again, that's not year to date, but we are talking about, we're at about 15% or so year to date on S&P. And I mean, you need that, but you know where you really get the points? It's from these pullbacks. If you then add in this whole area, right? And then you captured it from there, you then add on that difference, right? So if we just take a look at, okay, from the low that we just bought, if we rise to back to the high, that's another 2.5% you get to add on to your average, right? Because you captured this and you didn't lose it. Now, of course, we're losing on some positions, but again, it's the point of by buying this with options, we're then actually really levering up to capture more than what you're losing, right? That's the entire point. We lose small, win big. And it's straightforward right now, right? Straightforward right now. It takes a lot of problem solving and active, and again, this big A word, active trading and problem solving. And if you're passive, then you're not really happy right now, or you are happy, but you have a lot to complain about because everyone else that's active and smaller than you can just maneuver. There's not really. It's just it does seem a little silly that every time there's a pullback, you can just buy every single candle and there's not really a repercussion, and you get paid again things that don't really make sense in terms of percents. We've had positions that'll do 1,000% on a sizable sort of investment on it, and that's just kind of disgusting, and you can't do that on the passive side, right? And so we continue being aggressive today, not expecting fireworks to go off or anything like that. We'll see what the market wants to do. Coming from a big day like yesterday, it's not so much that you'd have an expectation of take profit from yesterday. I think you have plenty of reasons to continue up to all-time highs. We'll watch for that interaction on the NASDAQ coming into all-time high again. Mega caps really being sort of the brunt of pushing averages right now. And also, what's really the most interesting side that we're again watching is what exactly are we doing on some of these value charts? Let's just use the Dow again as an example, since when you look at this, it certainly had the largest rotation. When we look at this, you have a very interesting possibility of just rising with the rest of the market, and then the market also rising at that same pace. And again, that's a ton of points that we're talking about for the Dow just to come back to its high here. That's 3%. Again, not like a crazy value or a crazy amount in this market, but in terms of the actual movement, it's a lot, right? It's going to mean a lot for value companies. And so what exactly are we going to do here, right? That's, I think, the most interesting question. When we talk about banks and energy already putting so many points on, we still look to things like crude, right? And when we compare these charts, when it comes down to it, the price of the barrel keeps going up, which is why we continue to bet on oil, or excuse me, the energy market, right? Because it does track this chart. And so when we look and compare what actually happened through here, right, it was very different, right? We started to really change up and pull back because, again, the equity market has its own flows. And so there's an outflow that goes somewhere else. Yet this needs to still be tracking what's going on with this price because that's how the market works. And we've had many examples where this happened before. When we had the consolidation back here, this is when energy had the larger consolidation, and then banks continued. But we bet on energy just again on the breakout because crude was still going to the upside, right? And so again, it's important to understand when we have connections to another market. We've done very well on those. Again, understanding that the commodities are having a sort of an interesting sort of time with the cycle. Went through a super cycle, took profit a bit, and then has sort of come off the lows. And we've taken buys on things like lumber, right? It's not that we are big lumber lovers, right? Maybe some of you, but we understand that this chart here is very different than when we look at sort of the home builder side, right? But then there's also a lot of similarities, right? We took a trade, for instance, here, but also through all this area when lumber prices were trending. What were we doing? Well, there's an appreciation on the commodity side. We were buying home builders the entire time, right? Now, what about over here? Why are we buying home builders over here? It's the same sort of premise, right? It's the same sort of premise, but that now we have less of a correlation to this side of things because the equity market is speculating on sort of the future reason for why this was happening, right? The lumber cost is upfront, the home buying is after this, right? And so here's the spike in home building. On the equity side, we're looking for actual homes, looking for the actual physical thing. Well, it's got to go from a piece of wood to a house, doesn't it? So again, there's a process, and we take advantage of the lag. And I think we've had plenty of examples in the past where we look at lag in markets and understand that there is timing, and you can play off of these things. Just like I've talked about in the past with how gold and the leverage sort of tickers on the equity market are lagged. Again, 24-hour market to opening up in the morning, it's going to benchmark itself, and these things are pretty easy to see and understand, and then it's just execution, right? And so in terms of value, there's plenty of reasons. Commodities are still going to be fine. I do think that there's plenty of reasons to transition from those into equities, but again, there's always going to be somebody trading equities, always trading commodities, and most of them are going to jail right now for spoofing, right? We just saw another Goldman Sachs guy from London get arrested for spoofing in the gold market, so good on them. They're doing a great job. I think they have the highest rate of arrests, the commodity traders, because who the hell wants to be a commodity trader? And how else are you going to make money other than just spoofing the market all the time, right? So that should tell you everything you need to know about commodity trading, which is why we don't commodity trade. We just use equities. Makes it a lot easier. You can do what they're doing for illegal activities. They could do legally in the equity market. It's their own fault, right? Maybe they should just get a new job, right? And then pretty hard to get a new job. So maybe not. Maybe not. Let them do their illegal things. Otherwise, nothing going on pre-market. Looks pretty dry. So we don't have anything to talk about on that side. We do have some things sort of rumbling. We're looking for some movement from travel. We'll see if this makes any sort of move. Today, again, we sort of slowed down on something that's more volatile, which is always interesting when you go from high volatility to, okay, what are we doing here? No one's moving. Otherwise, not much to see, not much to look at. It'll be interesting to see what the morning looks like, if we go bid or not. I think it's probably gonna be a bit of a paint drier day. Probably get off here early, take a nice long lunch. What do we have? We have 9 minutes. What time is Powell on? I think he's at noon. Take a look. He's at noon. Powell testimony. And 10 years sitting at about 1.5, so not much going on the bond side. Well, they already released his what he's gonna say, so looks like the same damn thing. Okay, so I don't care. I do not care. Oh, it's at 2. It's at 2, not noon. Keeping with the usual Fed timing. All right. Well, I'm ready to watch the paint dry. In terms of positions from over the weekend, I'm mostly um, again just watching for whether there's any reason to continue to push things. Anything that was short term would have obviously been taken profit. Yesterday I talked about I didn't really have anything that was I didn't have some sort of weekly situation going on over the weekend. That would have been a little too risky. But everything else is mostly just sitting and we're watching, looking to push more. Uh, I don't think that there's anything today that could happen that would make me take profit on those positions. I think there's even with a day that does nothing today, I'd still be looking for later in the week to make a decision on that. So for anyone else wondering about that, mostly just pushing, and it's gonna again it would take quite a bit of points to maybe push us out of those. And I think the way that the options are lined up right now, I don't think you can really lose many points. You think about sort of the area in which we bought from Friday. I mean, it's pretty damn hard to screw those up. So I think we're gonna have plenty of a baseline to continue to push things, and we'll see what the rest of this week looks like. Again, it's just a question of do we chase the high or do we maybe consolidate here and maybe just track the trend line. Even if you just sit on the trend line, that's plenty of points. Got no problem with that. That pays for itself. Pays for itself. I think the other big thing is just what does everyone that was rotated here want to do with this? Do you kind of want to buy more, push more, but it's so much easier just to buy sort of the dip from the other side of the market right now that it does make you kind of wonder. So we'll watch for flows, see what gets the most. And if I turn on pre-market, you're gonna see nothing. Nothing here. I think SPLK is the only thing that's up this morning. Oh, SBH is up now. Okay, that just popped up. Retail stores are doing well. And Ford. Holy shit, I'm a massive liar. Okay, we had some pre-market action. Doing well on Ford. And SBH retail stores, not something we're in, but we are in retail stores. Mostly just energy. Mostly just energy. Watch for blue camps. Doing decent enough pre-market. Most likely just ETFs buying. Okay. Not interesting though. All right, let's load up the old 15-minuter. Be opening above again the trend line, so we're within the channel. Going to call for, or it's going to just cause again this sort of strength underneath us. There should be no sell pressure through the trend line. The market's opening so stable, you can tell that there's just plenty of liquidity in here. I just don't think anything is really going to happen much today. Not prepared to do much. Not making any trades at open. Looking to push things Next trades will be once these risk risk positions are taking profit on, and we'll look for new homes. Not literally buying new homes, but maybe some of you. One's enough. Except, I mean, look at real estate right now. Maybe it's a good time. Just go throw cash at a house, flip it real quick. That just seems like so much effort. It seems so much harder than just buying equities. Why would we want to do that? Imagine doing that right now. Oof. Just too much. I mean, maybe it's easy. Who knows? You sit on Zillow, you find a house, you buy it, you put it back on Zillow. You just make a Zillow account. Is that enough? Is there anything legal about buying a house? No. They're doing it. Here's the very interesting pre-market action. A lot of action. You see that? Yeah. Yes. Oh, I keep screwing it up. Trading Views doing this new thing where it does not want trend lines on intraday. There we go. Okay, 2 minutes to watch price do nothing all day. Big day. Gotta watch Powell testify, and they already submitted what he's gonna say, and then we have to listen to boomer questions that we actually already just got at FOMC, but now we get to listen to it from people that actually have no idea about economics. At least at FOMC, we have people that actually read about it, have a little bit of knowledge. This time, oofa. I can't wait. I can't wait. So, how exactly does inflation work? Is that bad? And oh, the best part of the analogies. Well, so what if I put money into my mattress? Is the money under my mattress going to inflate? Is it going to go down in value because of what you're doing? I mean, a lot of that. Poor Powell doesn't get paid enough. All right, I know it's hard to tell where that first candle is intraday, but it's in there. It looks like the other ones. It's you gotta really look hard to find it. It's barely moving. I mean, I would love for things to go bid and continue, but even that would be dry. It's just doing the exact same thing we did here. So, we'll see. Gonna get the few kids that are gonna take profit from their 1.5% day yesterday. Their SPY 420s. Everyone else is gonna go, okay, let's put our usual orders in. Maybe we'll have some surprising intraday, or we'll have some surprising individual tickers. Got top 9%. There you go. Individual tickers will help. Ford 2% heading there. But again, everything is in things that are already positioned. Here's the top chart. Let's take a look at that. Coming from the brink of death. Triple D is continuing. That looks nice from that. And we have a lot of charts that have that little flag look to it. Most things look like that. Retail stores, again, doing very well. Retail traders are out. Buying up the usual. Yeah, we're going to sit right on that trend line all day, aren't we? And sit right on that trend line. Feel things change. Hector says he keeps his weekly calls under his mattress. That's a good spot for him. I don't trust phones, so when I make my greasy finger mobile trades, I keep it under the mattress. I like to print them out. I have a little printing thing you put on the phone, print it out, put it under the mattress. It's like an old certificate. Back in the pits, that's what they used to do. You have to write on your piece of paper what options you want. You're going to select which side of the spread you want. You put, okay, right here. About 5 minutes. All right, right here. And hide those. Don't let someone else fucking take those. Oof. Johnny wants to change up your option order before it gets there. Ooh, look at this activity. This is really something to watch right here. What did I just say? We technically the way in which we have stocks within ETFs and then ETFs within mutual funds and then mutual funds within mutual funds, it adds up to about $70 trillion US equity market. This is $70 trillion at work right here. Looking great. Mega caps are doing well. That's okay. Jokes aside. For instance, Tesla. It's probably not. So today's probably not the day that I'd want to even take an entry, even if it crossed, because it's not going to be moving fast enough. But maybe today would be the day that it will get momentum because there's literally nothing else to do. So we just keep pushing mega caps, looking for a Tesla entry. It's not the Tesla entry is not like it does not have to be put on this week or something. Like it doesn't really matter. It's more about awareness that there is a breakout there and it should be buyable, but not going to rush it. Roku continue to do well. I think one of our one of the better besides mega cap big name sort of trades that we have. So Roku continue to do well, and again, I like that weekly chart. I think that really separates itself from the others. Ford kind of again, you're gonna get another candle just like this from yesterday on Ford. It looks like don't see how you're getting much momentum here. Maybe close will have momentum come in, or maybe 10 o'clock. Maybe 10 o'clock we'll see. 10 o'clock we might get the all right. Let's just keep buying shit. But there you go. Look at that doji right there. You'll love to see it. A little speck on the trend line. We'll see. I mean, you're going to, if the market's going to sit like this, which again, I mean, it's all headed upside. It's just how long is it going to take to get through upside? You could definitely get a lot of moves on some of these positions that just have, no connection, their own velocity. So, I would definitely love to see some of our other risky positions get more points just because the market's just kind of hanging out. Same. Snap going off the support that we were just looking at yesterday. That'd be a very nice move there. We were looking at that spread yesterday. CS heading up to the trend line. Trend line's at 220. We'll see what that does. Yeah. Semiconductors might be going. Mopsky mentions AMD. Semiconductors might be continuing here. This would be a good day for AMD. The times that we've seen AMD do things are usually not linked to the rest of the market, and what it really needs is some retail. It would love some retail help because it's just boomers and people like me that buy it for one fucking day and then we're out. I need somebody besides Nvidia we're long on. Yeah, if we can get, we could get semis again. If we're close, you know what? If you get all-time high on the Nasdaq, then everything is gonna just boom here. So you could definitely get momentum trading on the growth side today. Trying to paint a picture of nothing happening today because you got nothing to do. I want everyone else to have fun. TWLO, it's a great move right there. Well, that's going to help. That's gonna help. So again, we're in positions that are getting plenty of points, so there is nothing to complain about. I mean, I loved yesterday. I had so much fun yesterday. I went out, had a couple drinks with the boys. Etsy. Uh-oh. How many times do we have to shit on this chart for it to move? %2. Uh-oh. That's 10% to 191. You know what we need fucking money. We need cash. We need cash, boys. We have a major problem over here. Got a lot of we have a lot of money on paper, but no cash. Etsy's gonna go to 191 today, isn't it? And the Nasdaq is going all-time high. Growth, just buy growth. Somebody just buy something before you get passed by. We're already in, but if you're not in growth, if you're not in anything, there's so much easy stuff to buy. It's like watching a child fall. You know they're gonna fall. This is the other way, though. Doc, you continue to give us points. That's great. RNG broke the trend line we're looking at. Plan starting a nice day so far. ZS again, that 220 there. Looks like that might break. ZS could put some disgusting points on. Fiverr, we're doing really well. I'm happy about this one because this chart was fucking wonky. If anyone noticed how we talked about the head and shoulders accumulation down here, but this angle was it makes itself completely separated from the other tickers that actually accumulated this way, right? This was sharp. The breakout was disgusting. Look at the people on the moving average. They're looking at the moving average and it's over here. Well, she mentioned spot. I mean, I would love to get the spot move as well. Get our big names. I mean, the names are similar, but spot and shop also moved very similar during 2020. Wouldn't be surprised if we got those moving together. The other one we're looking for again is Netflix as well. So, I mean, that looks like the market right there. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Megas, Amazon's 1%, Facebook's 1%, Tesla's 0.5%. If it crosses, I'll take it. I need some money though, because there's a bunch of shit I would buy right now, but I don't have. Let's do something real quick. Just in case, because it looks like the market's going to be a little bit sideways, and usually that's our active day, so I better be prepared here. That's awesome. ZS is going to give us so many points, guys. Next trend line is at like 257, but when we start looking at a trend, it's like 260. It's another 18% right there. You love to see it. Also, JD's at 2%. I hate the China moves. It's just so annoying. All right, we need some money. What do we do? Oh, we got our dividend. We can take some more money out. Still in the profit. So again, from entry, you're up almost 3%. Got the dividend last week. Okay. Fund me up. Fund me up. give that a second. Yeah, not much going on the average. What are we at on Z? Oof, goodness. Yeah, we had to we had to hold. We had to hold, but this is decent enough and it's close enough. Close enough still. Again, we couldn't get the usual stop out. We got it's a little weird. It's a little weird. We're break even, but it's just kind of no liquidity, so we kind of needed to go up. The only way you really can sometimes protect this position is to average to the support, which we kind of got virtue of the trend line yesterday, so we're doing decent. I don't like that it started to pull back though. It would have been nice if we just get this because again, from entry, we did fine. Like it was fine in through here. And you didn't lose much because the way the volatility worked, but you do need the movement. I would say if today we don't get at least a underlying higher than the entry point, then you know you gotta get out. We'll have to re-enter, but we're kind of holding on, which is not something we usually do. We don't usually hold on, but we're not really losing. But we understand that it's just because people are not trading the options. The underlying is down. It has less value if you do the calculation. But no one's trading it, so we haven't lost value. But it takes one. It just takes one. All right, nice little pullback on things that had a little spurt there. Little slowdown. We're waiting. Looks like everyone's like, all right, market's not doing anything. We're not going to do anything. Look at these candles. It's just they're the exact same. Close to open. You wouldn't even think that it's a new day. You would actually think that it's the same day. It's funny. I mean, it's identical. We have the identical spread from yesterday. Actually, we almost have the exact same spread. Let me see. We might have the exact same order flow. Which, if that doesn't convince you that this entire market's traded by computers, well, there you go. Humans, we wake up on the... We wake up differently, have a different mood every day. Yeah. We would be pricing things differently, don't you think? Computers? Nah. All right, ZS got stopped at that 220. It's sitting there. How continues. Oof. Oof. When you get it, you get it. Again, a very specific chart that is more about just looking for patterns and technicals and trying to again be right about it and try to learn from that process, right? So again, you look at something like this and it comes from Pennyland and then just being able to somehow solve the problem here of what's going to happen. And so it's more about that, less of making money, more of learning. So and not gonna make much money on that, but not really the point. Triple D, we'll see if that goes through the old 3269. Of course, it's at 69 because this is the triple D. 11%. It's a lot of points. SPLK I like as well. I posted 2 charts on that and just never gave you the lines. Roll, nice start. Oh, hold on. We don't have enough liquidity to get filled on some things, boys. The age-old dynamic or dilemma. This is why I just say click the ask. Ask. Click the ask. I was going to say, what is that spread? Meh. Nothing interesting now. I was hopeful. I was hopeful for action, and they took it away from me. Come on. Give us, I mean, yesterday was plenty for me, but I'll take more. If we can go all-time high on the S&P today, just continuing that candle from yesterday, I'd be very grateful. I'll take you guys all out, okay? No promises, though. Oh, yeah. Things are flip-flopping everywhere. No one's moving. No one's moving. Take a look on this side. Energy, break even. It's not as interesting as that wick right there makes it look. Banks, not as interesting as this wick makes it look. Break even, break even, break even. Dollar, no movement. Gold, no movement. The hell of Bitcoin continues to go down. That's not it. Triple D does continue through. See ya. I see some orders already through there. CHPT. Take a look. Here she is on the daily. Close. Close. Nice 3% start. One of the better looking charts. I think everyone can agree. Nice pullbacks. Deep swings, just like you want. And then the disgusting trend that is not going to be broken. So, should be interesting. I mean, these charts are so hard to tell when you get into these areas. I think anyone's guess. Anyone's guess on the range in here, and I think you still have some possibilities as well of the 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 trend lines that we have like this. Let me put it like this. You've got these sort of trend lines like this that we've seen with most of these charts that came in through the new year that had just sort of this range that was on an angle. And we look at it over here, for instance, and you start to look for where exactly, maybe this is a little bit flatter, but you look for exactly where do you have resistance. It's just hard to tell. Countries gain value so quickly. Yeah, brand new, baby. Just no supply from long, brand new contracts. I mean the trend too. I mean, I'm not even. The only other place that we have similar things happening that are it's under a new premise is the Neo chart. where we have this neo trend line, sort of like holding of the trend, which right now it's bouncing on support right now. But what happens is you have all of this happen, and no one has this anymore. No one owns any of this shit anymore, and it's just like on that chart as well. And then when you have a nice chart like that, where you have really nice pullbacks and swing trades happen, and then it turns into a long term trade, yeah, contracts turn into fucking gold. They're just, you know, interesting. But yeah, I like that chart. I'm happy enough with the way the space chart worked. I mean, all things considered. See, we'll see what happens. I mean, you gotta break the high up here, but I mean it's possible. Anything is possible. Where can we try to think of everything is kind of just normal. We're continuing to gain points on things that we have. Think of something that we don't have exposure to that would be a little bit of fun. Can't see. It's just I'd like to take this trade, but I just can't touch it. What's something fun? See. I mean, even volatile shit's not moving. Come on. Hold on, like QRTA. Oh, see? Takes one little search. That's at 13. It just there's no volatility though. It's a little bit of a problem. X is a no. I mean, I think something on the retail store side would probably be a nice start. Box on the trend line, but it hasn't moved here. Possibly this is the candle here. Let's see. It just you can't really tell. That's not gonna happen. Okay. Next. What else we got? Anything that is just I can think about as a day trade. I know today's gonna be a little boring, so let's find some activity. Oh, I mean, travel we're already in, so I guess that doesn't really count. I think this snap position is an interesting prospect. Adobe we continue to do well on. Link underneath the level. Things just trending, continuing. Hmm. We're gonna get the mega cap bump. I'm gonna do. We're gonna do another one. Do another AMD. We were in and out. Are we gonna be in and out again? I'm trying to think of where else something. Or if you could make an argument for this move happening after a long sideways trading and tightening, happening again quicker because of a tight sort of move in the market going all time. And what happened before, people looked at that and saw potential. Now they create their own. It has so much points to catch up too. I mean, this thing is so far behind. Two back-to-back 1,000% trades. Is it possible? Is the dream alive? There's just nothing else to do, so let's see. Not that we have to do anything. Not knowing when not to do things is important too. July monthlies seem kind of boring though, right? How about some June 25ths? June 25th, 85s are going for less than half a cent. And I could buy all the liquidity. At 35% IV. Who could I sell that to though? Let's see. Okay, we're gonna think about that one. I'm gonna think about some dirty weekly back-to-back AMD calls. No one expects volatility on that chart because it has done nothing for a year. And then you get a day like last week. He's getting pretty close. Might get out of that soon. Oh, Zoom is the other chart that I was thinking about when comparing that trend line, this recent move, that trend it's on, to how it was traded before. I think we're gonna hang out. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna sit on these levels. Nasdaq holding the trend, intraday trend. I mean, mega cap's doing well enough. Still gaining points. Amazon's still paying. Microsoft's paying. Facebook's paying. I'll take them. You know what? Put a little snap on there. How about a little snap? How about a little snap? I think that's a nice one. Nice little risk position. How about, you know, how goofy are we feeling? How about a weekly? These are going for, it's got a 51 IV already though. Ugh. You know what? That might be a little too goofy. Those are already priced for a move. I mean, you could still make a decent amount, but you would definitely make a lot more on AMD. And some of these other ones we looked at. Actually like 56% IV around there. Hmm. Fuck it. I don't even care. Scoop them. I think they probably pulled back enough today so far. All good. All good. Couple 65 weeklies. AMD will throw the same on, do the same idea. Just to round out the positions, but this AMD one's a lot better. A lot better. So 85 and 65 June weeklies. AMD just has better IV, so it's about 20% less implied vol, which means you're going to get that 20% as a nice little gift. Trying to find a way. This is so stupid to look at. Come on, just get us out of this little spot at least. Oh, there's a nice little whatever that was. This here. Goku continues. Etsy's at 3%. I mean, $191. Telling you. What it looks like. Oh, no, it doesn't. There you go. But why? I don't know. Decided. It's deciding to. That's just disgusting to look at. I mean, I shouldn't even be looking at that. That's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Shop, take profit, win. Twitter's a lot better than Snap, huh? Why don't we do the same on Twitter? We're a little late, but that's okay. Better late than never. Going with the old social media angle today. Because that's where the real risk is. All right, we're social media'd up. Social media'd up. Triple D. Heading to possibly the moon. 3269 being broken. We saw orders a little while ago being bought above. It looks like it's taking a minute to get there. Very nice chart so far. Roku continues about 4% today. Awesome move. Can't do much more with that position. Great. Docu continuing. Very good. Spot's trying. It keeps throwing bids up there, but kind of not holding a continued move. And looks like we're finally gonna get this space move. So see ya. If we could get this, I would love it because I think it's so ironic to have, or in terms of thinking, to just kind of, I don't know, just the relationship with the way the retail traders are pushing things and how bad this was. Look at it in different limelight now. Dolby looks great. You know, really, mega caps just give us everything, huh? Thoughts on UPST? Pretty cool chart. Actually, you would just remove all this here. Go after that big gap there. Start looking at it from that angle. You got get through here. Okay, this all lines up right here. There you go. This is pretty easy. There you go. There it is. There you go. Looks pretty good. Yeah, nice chart. Got a little wedge going on over here. Looks like it's still got a little bit of time, but it's coming in with some converging support in here. Might be a nice little snag. Little wedge. Throw it in there for you. Oh, that's definitely not what we wanted. Probably here. But devil's advocate. That doesn't help. Don't need to even look at it like that. It's just a nice little channel. Looks like it's going to bounce. I mean, in terms of a move, just the same swing. Swinging up to the next level. Definitely doable. Nice. Nice, nice. Come on, bid. Give us some more. Give us some more bid. Just need NASDAQ all-time high. Mega caps are trying. Certainly trying. As can be foretold, when resistances are broken, the move comes. Triple D. On its way. Certainly on its way. What do you think? How about 40? 40 good for you guys? Once we get to 40, we'll call the high. You get 40, then you'll get 56. No? You don't think so? No big deal. Couple points here and there. Space taking us to space. I would love for this chart to work because we didn't get nothing. We didn't get anything. Kodak looking good, boys. A little Kodak trade. A lot of the meme stocks really in a spot that I like. In terms of the ultimate meme stocks, pretty break even. Just hanging out, holding value. They look good. Anything from the red side that we can take a piece of. Not really. Not pulling back. We're going to get stopped out. Was pretty close. Well, we actually might be saved. Eva. We can get Tiva to break that level, give us some sort of hint. I would take a trade like that. Some sort of bio play that's coming off of support that probably sneaky. All right. And again, the paint dry call was pretty good. I was mentally ready. GW low continues as well. I mean, when we talked about open space, it's open space up there. Got a few charts like this. So we've mentioned that as soon as you get up there, there's just nothing going on. Keeps going. Roku just keeps going. What do I mean? What's up here? Nothing's up here. This is very interesting. I mean, it's a very interesting day. It's just not much to do. You're already positioned, and even if you're looking for positions, it's a good thing. Definitely a good thing. Dow, decent day holding value. Again, almost 2% yesterday. About as good as you're gonna get. I mean, we're going one way. It's just slow. You just melt all day. Again, all-time high. Should be melting anyway. Eh. It's pretty good. I mean, to be honest with you, just sitting in long mega positions feels great. Everything that we had from yesterday just continues to at least hold and gain. So the risk positions continue. We don't really have any of the entries like Tesla yet, anything like that. Waiting, but I'll take it. I think this is getting pretty close to being enough to push us through. Again, we're at all-time high, but you get some momentum going on growth again. Who knows what's going to happen on some of these other tickers, which is why we're trying to lay some, groundwork for you get some of these other highly volatile stocks to put a move on. Base is about to break this level, it looks like. Love for that to happen. It's a nifty way to take that trade. the higher probability trade taking it here than here. This was a lot more points. Of course. Of course. I'm not going to get baited on the China trades. Meme stocks, triple BY, also looking like it's, you know, I mean, again, it's a question of whether these are, most of the meme stocks have the January look now, right? But then the rest of them, you've got this where you're just holding value, so they're a little ominous on that side. Questions, head scratchers. I think I'll just bet on volatility on what we do know. Sure. Not meme stocks. Big tech companies, real names. URI continues. We talked about that trend line yesterday, the rejection. There you go. New chart. God, what a chart this has been. His upward reached mean status. I mean, it was the meme. I mean, it was a meme. That is quite the move on it today. That is quite the move. Looks very much like the rest of the charts. They just had a deeper pullback, so I guess I didn't really think about it the same way. I mean, we did do very well through this area. Was it from COVID low again? I think we were, yeah. One of the largest ones going into the new year. Yeah, Upwork having a day as well. Definitely nice. I don't think it's a meme. What is this? $6.7 billion? I mean, GME is bigger. But that's how she goes sometimes. That's how she goes sometimes. AMC, who knows? I think meme status is really when that cap size is just, it's off. And you know it's off. I guess you can do that with Tesla as well, but it's the same premise of what we call a meme stock anyway, and why meme stocks do well. So it's not that Tesla's a meme. It was just kind of the first meme stock that we can really attribute to large valuation, which if you think about meme stocks, it really is the bloating of the cap size. So Tesla being $600 billion cap, even though it barely makes any profit, again, is sort of the the premise of being a meme stock. So I guess anything that does have an overinflated cap size, that when you look at that earnings ratio, you can't even use the ratio anymore because it doesn't even, you can't, it just doesn't make sense. It's just, it is a meme. So, you know, and I guess all COVID winners are technically, they technically should be considered meme stocks. And again, you can just look at that sort of that earnings. Told you 40, and you guys looked at me and you're like, you know what? There's just no way that's going to get to 40 as well. Well, just saying, I mean, looks like it. And we know what happens with momentum in this market. People just can't stop. They see it and they have to go, I don't know, throw their face on it. People love to sit on momentum. All right. Market, break even, melting, hanging out, bullish. Mega caps looking good. We're all-time high on the Nasdaq. Looks like we're going to continue to melt. We could definitely continue to get some volatility on some individual tickers like we're seeing, where you can just get some big some big bid coming through. And a lot of our positions are continuing. on the tech side. So things that we had a little bit of a longer term focus on are doing very well, which are the ones that really matter in terms of risk positions. We did great yesterday, and those have continued to push a little bit, at least hold, but not much movement today. Today is very slow, I would say, on an average sort of standpoint, at least on a trend standpoint, which makes a lot of sense because yesterday we put a ton of points on, and so usually you chill a little bit. Apparently, retail traders did not get the memo, or anybody that's active trading did not get the memo because they're fucking pushing things that probably don't probably didn't need to be pushed so much. It does make you wonder a little bit when you get some buying that is just a lot more than the average, and kind of scratch your head about the way in which people buy things. It's like you could have bought it yesterday, which is kind of our mentality is we'll buy it the day before, but I mean some people just they like to buy it when things are happening. More at the moment. Maybe that's more of the thing. They didn't know they wanted to buy it until they bought it, which I guess is not a terrible thing. Otherwise, I don't think we have much to see here. We took social media positions from support, so Snap got pretty close. I'm gonna just push this one because again, I just took the trade, and options are really finicky on weeklies, so you can be down like 40% or something, but then you go up 100% in the next 5 minutes. If you put a weekly position on, there is no such thing as getting stopped out. So I should just like not even have said that because it kind of sounds stupid for saying it like that. Yeah, I mean you're gonna be up 50, you're gonna be up 50%, down 40, up 130, down 80. I mean, who knows what the hell's actually going on? It's just somebody else just made a trade and made it fucking flip, right? So again, you take a weekly trade, you took the trade. That's it. You're stuck with it. Unless it was a momentum trade that just is going up and you're selling it to some other fool, right? Which you're still a fool for doing it, just like I'm a fool for doing it too. Right? So, otherwise, I don't think we have anything to really see here. Again, Powell speaks at 2. Market, I don't think is going to react, other than for, again, I think there'll be some questions that potentially bring up the inflation discussion on the at least the fiscal spending side, and so maybe we'll get some fiscal spending ideas, but the only thing we care about on the fiscal spending side is when the hell are you going to pump that money into the market? Or not the market, but technically you're pumping it to the market when you put $6 trillion into spending in infrastructure and all these other social plans and shit. So we're really just waiting for timelines, not what someone says. So we need to keep watching for that, but that shouldn't really be a today thing. Otherwise, let's take a break. Got nothing else to say, nothing else to see. Very happy with what we've had so far. I think coming from last week, we've definitely set ourselves up right. I think anyone that had a rough week last week is probably having a pretty easy week this week because they would have been able to buy it yesterday. So if anyone here had that, I'm guessing that was the mentality. Just thinking about it is if you had a rough week last week, then you would have had a rough week because you sold, which would have meant that you would have been really easy to buy yesterday. And same as today. I mean, that's how those things would connect. Otherwise, people are just kind of not even, they're just not even doing, I don't know, you would have to not even be paying attention or anything, right? It would be very hard to miss both like that. So let's take a break. S&P is climbing. NASDAQ is climbing. So hallelujah. Celebrate. We're making money. I will see you guys this afternoon. Enjoy.